Yo, yo, what's happening, world? B-Marsh Boxing back at it with another boxing video. So, the man Bubu Andrade is under a lot of pressure lately, right? He got this mandatory, an Olympian. I can't remember which one he was in. Was it 2016? I believe a 2016 Olympian, Janibek. All right, now Janibek is 11 and 0, and he's Demetrius Andrade mandatory. You know what I mean? The man is what, 31 and 0, I think 19 KOs for the 160-pound WBO strap that Demetrius Andrade's holding. Now, Eddie Hearn and them, they try and make it look like the man Bubu Andrade should vacate his strap and go to 168 for bigger and better fights. Man, them fellas, Bubu Andrade is in no different a predicament than the man Terrence Crawford was over there at Top Rank. You know what I mean? Them fellas, Bubu Andrade been with the Zone and Eddie Hearn. Until this day, he still hasn't gotten that marquee fight or unification. When the man Cannoli was over there with the 160-pound straps, he ain't fight Bubu Andrade. Bubu Andrade ain't fight the man Triple G. Triple G been swerving him, been ducking him for years, just like Cannoli. So what makes the man Bubu Andrade even think that Eddie Hearn gonna bring him that a fight, a great or bigger and better fight at 168 pounds? Are you serious? Bubu Andrade, man, only bargaining chip you got in this boxing game is your WBO strap, and don't ever get that confused. That's the only reason you're on TV. That's the only reason people even pay attention to Bubu Andrade. Now I do, because I like the kid's skill set, you know what I mean? I like Bubu Andrade from Rhode Island. I've been wanting to see him in great fights. But what could you do when fellas are not trying to fight you? What could you do? You know what I'm saying? You gotta just fight your mandos. Same way you've been doing. Eddie Hearn, it's obvious, can't bring you what you want. So don't ever think that them fellas will get you bigger and better fights at 168. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be a purse bid for Janibek versus Bubu Andrade next year. Early next year, I believe, like um, January the 14th, there's supposed to be a purse bid. I'm not too sure if that purse bid is going to happen if Eddie Hearn, the promoter, the man Bubu Andrade, is trying to convince him to drop his belt, his only bargaining chip in this boxing game. Who is Bubu Andrade without a strap? Who's going to even want to fight that man? Fellas ain't trying to fight the man when he has a WBO strap. You know? Reminds me of how fellas did Mark Too Sharp Johnson back in the G. You know what I mean? Hey, how you doing? Great. All right. Sure. All right, thank you. You too. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, fellas ain't trying to fight the man Bubu Andrade with a strap right now. What would make him think fellas would want to fight him without a strap? Now they try to convince the man Bubu Andrade, go up to 168 and you'll be a mandatory for the man Cannoli because he holds a WBO 168-pound title. As a matter of fact, he's undisputed. Cannoli is at 168, so he has 4 straps. Okay? Now, is the man Cannoli even going to continue campaigning at Is he gonna continue campaigning at 168? Supposedly his next fight, he's supposed to be moving up to cruiserweight. You know what I mean? You check it. So Bubu Andrade doesn't have to have his whole career from 2013, 2014 revolve around the man Cannoli. Forget about it. That fellas ain't trying to fight you. Like I said, reminds me of the man Too Sharp Johnson. You know? When all the money makers at 115, fellas like Johnny Tapia, Danny Romero, these fellas wasn't trying to fight him. And I fucks with Johnny Tapia, rest in peace. That was my man's. But I'm a bigger Mark Too Sharp Johnson, man. I'm here in Washington, D.C. I ain't in Too Sharp Johnson side of the neighborhood out southwest. I'm here Capitol Hill, you know what I mean? And they ducked the man Too Sharp. Too Sharp fought guys, but he never got them big fights. Fellas tried to wait till he got old, you know what I mean? That's how what's his name? Rafael Marquez caught up to him, you know what I mean? The first fight was a close fight, could have gone either way. Controversial decision. I got that on my videos over here. Check me out. What you call it? And he eventually got knocked out in the rematch, you know what I mean? Great W. To me, that's Rafael Marquez's greatest W on his resume. You check it? Yeah, they thought Mark Too Sharp Johnson washed up. And they tried to bring more young lions to, beat off the vulnerable Mark Too Sharp Johnson, like Fernando Montiel, multiple division winner from Mexico. Was a very good fighter in his day. People mostly know him from getting sparked out by Donaire in spectacular fashion, but he was a damn good fighter, you know what I mean? Now, Too Sharp Johnson is in the same position. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's in the Hall of Fame without any big names as far as even Manny Pacquiao. Sorry, y'all, the train kind of loud. I'm going to have to yell. Even Manny Pacquiao ducked the man. Mark Too Sharp Johnson, you know what I mean? Manny Pacquiao went from 115 all the way to 122 to avoid 118, where Too Sharp was campaigning as an older fighter at that time too. Bubu Andrade, just keep on fighting your mandatories. You beat this guy Janibek, he could end up being somebody, you know what I mean? He could end up being a major player in this game, you know what I'm saying? An Olympian, a guy who, this is a guy who in 11 fights is now trying to challenge for a world title in his 12th fight. Like I said, this guy might end up being somebody. And if Demetrius Andrade, kind of something sort of like how Floyd Mayweather took Cannoli's own, you know what I mean? That only blemish, he got a couple draws on his resume as well, but as far as losses, Cannoli's only loss is to the man Floyd Mayweather. Like I said, it's better to pluck them off now, right? Before they end up being somebody. Now, Cannoli is obviously somebody in the boxing game right now, the cash cow in the game. That W looks very impressive right about now on Floyd's resume. Same thing the man Bubu Andrade got to do. Don't drop your title, Slim. Don't do it, Mo. Don't do it. Do not do it. Eddie Hearn can't get you no bigger fights anywhere. He can't get you the fights with the man Charlo. Now, Charlo is a guy, look, man, would I like to see that fight? Yeah, but I'd rather see the man Bubu Andrade versus a great marquee fighter who, you know what I mean? And Cannoli's a guy. Triple G would be the guy too, you know what I mean? Because he has a name. There's more, he has more of a name than the man Charlo. Charlo ain't been fighting nobody since he was at 154. And that's a fact though, you know what I mean? So, Bubu Andrade, man, don't drop that strap, man. The man Eddie Hearn has done nothing for you over there. Only thing is you're probably getting nice paydays and your career's a little bit more stable than when you was over there with, was it Star Boxing and, Rock Nation, you know what I mean, where, there's a lot of instability with his career. Well, at the Zone, he's getting the fights. He's fighting at least twice a year. He's beating his Mandos. in spectacular fashion, some of them, you know what I mean? Now, that's what he just got to keep on doing, man. Fuck the bullshit, man. Fellas gonna recognize you, just like my man Jolton Jeff Chandler from Philadelphia in the 80s. You know what I mean? Great bantamweight, one of the great African-American bantamweights. Fellas wasn't trying to fight him, man. Lupe Pintor, man, you know, who had great fights with the man Carlos Zarate. These guys wasn't trying to fight Jolton Jeff Chandler. That ain't stopped Jolton Jeff Chandler, and it didn't stop the man Mark Too Sharp Johnson going into the Hall of Fame. Basically, their resume revolves around all the great fighters in their time who decided to duck the man. Same might go for the man Andrade. You know what I mean? When I talk about in retrospect, when we're going to be talking about Bubu Andrade in the future, maybe when he's retired, let's say he retires undefeated, I'm going to be talking about all the guys who ducked him. You check it? And there ain't nothing more to it. All the guys who ducked him, and you know what I'm saying? And that's how I'm going to remember Bubu Andrade. Now, one fight I will say that I thought Bubu Andrade did everything in his power to get up out of was a fight versus Erislandy Lara. That was a fight right there for hardcores, man. You know, that I really, really wanted to see. You know, this was a guy who got beat by the man Lara in the amateurs. Bubu Andrade always says, oh, he was a grown-ass man and I was a kid. Well, now y'all grown-ass man in the professional ranks. I thought he should have taken advantage and tried to get Lara on his resume. But he didn't, you know, and that's one blemish I will say. But besides that, Bubu don't need to have his whole career revolve around chasing the man Canoli. Canoli has more prospects as of right now of fighting at 175 and or cruiserweight, the guy Makabu from the Congo, Kinshasa, that he's about to fight. You know what I mean? So yo, be more boxing, man. I hope Bubu don't drop his strap. Look, we want to see Bubu in fights which are also competitive. I'm not saying his fights are not competitive, but he's that good. Okay, now if this guy Janibek could come and give this man some issues, you know, beating an undefeated huntress Triple G, a former Olympian, it'd only be right for him to, man, you know, just to handle his business and fight. I'd like to see him do it, you know what I mean? Because dropping his strap, nobody's gonna fight. Fellas ain't fighting him with his strap. Canoli has everything, man. The WBO ain't gonna make that fight a mandatory. They gonna do Bubu Andrade like they did Zudo Ramirez. You know, Zudo Ramirez moved up from 168, where he was a champ, vacated his super middleweight strap to go to 175, where he should have been fighting, whether it's Joe Smith Jr. or Vlasov, whomever, one of the two. He should have been fighting for that vacant WBO strap. They do that for Lomachenko. You know, they do that for everybody except guys who I guess the WBO doesn't really care about, like Zudo Ramirez and Bubu Andrade. They're going to do Bubu Andrade the same way, you know. Now, I'm not too sure how hard Eddie Hearn has petitioned the WBC to make the man Bubu Andrade a mandatory, even if Bubu is a champion. They've done it before, you know. I'm not too sure how hard Eddie Hearn has pushed that, because there shouldn't be any reason why Bubu Andrade can't be made a mandatory for Jamal Charlo's WBC strap. And that's what I'm talking about. Eddie Hearn as his promoter. I don't think he's done everything in his power to get Bubu craving for his whole career. 54 to 160, albeit, you know, he ain't been with Eddie Hearn since he was at 154. I'm talking about also when he's on the zone with Eddie Hearn as his chief promoter. He ain't been bringing the man Bubu Andrade those fights. And it's a damn shame, but Bubu shouldn't drop that strap. Keep doing your thing, fight these mandatories, keep your strap, that's your bargaining chip. They're going to try to wait for you to get older, and maybe that's when fellas going to call on Bubu Andrade, and you might get that payday then, you know what I mean? But until then, keep your strap, my G. And this boxing game. And these fellas, they trying to diminish who he is. You know what I mean? And without a strap, ain't no paydays coming his way. Be March Boxing via thoughts and comments. I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm gone. Peace.